let's get it on. Triumph of the Spirit. Let's get into it. Let's get into the swing of things. It's a little bit past my Saturday round. It was a very wet and windy and unbelievable weekend. It was my opportunity for round 13 at the Woods, playing off the yellow tees, and it was a gross 85 off the yellows, and it was a very late start to the round. It was a course closed situation. It was delayed due to inclement weather. The course was absolutely waterlogged. I felt making the decision to go and play. It was very late. Had no real chance to go through any routines, but I'd actually spent the morning leading up to the afternoon round watching some Masters 2011 footage where Charles Schwartzel went 4 birdies in a row to win and take out, obviously, the 2 Aussies, Adam Scott and Jason Day. And I just looked at the way he got around the course, and I just thought to myself, there's a guy that has immaculate rhythm. He probably didn't have what Rory had to deal with, where you can actually completely be on adrenaline for too many shots, and then you actually lose the rhythm, and then you can't get it back, or you can't actually keep things hinged. So that kind of described my feelings with the Saturday round, because it's the first time I actually felt like I couldn't actually get back on plane. I felt like I was unhinged at a certain part of the score, and then obviously with the rain setting in, the umbrella keeping the stuff dry, I played without a glove. There was no excuses, just that the lies were sometimes incredibly difficult, and maybe I just didn't have the time and pay attention to what was actually a decent result. So there were some 5 bad holes, which were double bogey or worse, which is not average, but it's just something I've been aware of with practice and obviously trying to avoid in the tournament and pressure situation. The putting started off pretty poorly, but then managed to find at least some confidence and made a few good hole outs from inside 20 foot. And that hasn't been done before when I've been sort of in the red or had too much adrenaline going on. I felt some of my short game was really quite eloquent, but then there were some decisions that were made, and I didn't have the courage to hit 1 or 2 flops where I should have, in my mind, knew that 1 out of 3 times I was going to be lucky, and those could be a bogey around the green versus a triple bogey, which was my nemesis hole on the 8th. So arriving at the course, we had to walk, no carts, so I'm happy with that. 3 balls, a decent competition, putting some good players together, 9 players where you've got the course to yourself. That's pretty much the reason why people would actually want to go play out in the rain. It's just the fact that you get these type of privileges. But at the end of the day, you can feel that you're going to have a lot of drops, and you're going to have to use the rules with the casual water situation. And then you've also got to consider just the fact that a lot of my ball contact with the ball and maybe some of the ground condition maybe did create a little bit of an open face, and that maybe led me to actually try and really crunch maybe too much out of some of the shots, especially with the irons. I missed a lot of my targets to the right. Nothing left, but I just felt that then I was actually all arms and probably not actually having the sequence right when it comes down to it. But no shanks or any unmentionables, just not getting the contact and hitting out of the middle of the club, especially in tee shots. So that's always going to be a grind. No birdies for the first time. I don't know when last I went 18 holes without a birdie. But here we go. This is what a wet Mount Edgecombe Woods off the yellows looks like, and this is the type of clubs that you would hit when you are now in that position where you know it's playing along. And then also when you've got rough and you've got some wind, how much it changes the club selection. So starting off on the first, it's that 360 meter par 4. It actually is quite a straightforward tee shot. You don't actually take a driver maybe for the first shot of the day. I haven't even been to the range. I haven't even hit a ball yet. I take a 3-iron and say, well, look, this could be the club that I need to revert to most of the time. And I actually hit a very decent tee shot, found the fairway, and pin is actually 6 on. and I'm pretty much around the 150 to the front, so I need to hit a shot that's going to be 156 plus a club, because of the fact that it's actually feeling very wet around the ball. Didn't have a casual water drop with the ball seeping up the shoe. I proceeded to actually just get myself set up to try and get at least center of the green, and I actually ended up not hitting it the distance. I actually came up well short to the right, and now I'm looking at an up and down to save par. It's just unbelievable. It's still not a casual water drop around the green, and I've got to now try and clip, and I'm too scared to actually hit a flop just because of the fact that I might actually get too much between the face and this thing could actually hit the teeth. So at the end of the day, I just play like a modified pitch, and this thing will then run if it lands. So that's just what I took, and then I had to try and make a 12-footer coming down the hill to save par, and unfortunately I just missed the putt left. Then hole number 2 was really great. I had been talking myself into this hole the whole week. Please, anything left of the pin, doesn't matter whether it's front, middle or back. The pin was 22 on, and I managed to at least hit a very decent 3-iron. It did come up short, but now I had a long putt for birdie, and I gave myself inside 3 foot for a tap and par. I then hit a really bad tee shot off the third, because it's going to play long, obviously a par 5, but just found the fairway. I mean, even found the fairway with the 3-wood, but I didn't. I took the driver, said I need to try and see what the driver's looking like today. I almost trapped the driver, which meant, I'm not actually getting to the top of the transition and taking my time with sequencing with obviously the lower part of the body, but I ended up almost trapping the ball, meaning it just didn't take off. It came out like a stinger, and I actually did find the fairway, but just absolutely so wet at this part of the fairway where I looked for a spot where I could take my first casual drop of the day, and I hit a terrible 5-iron that didn't even get past the 200 meter mark, and then I hit a much better modified swing after that 5-iron. I thought that 5-iron first time round should have just choked down and hit a 3/4 swing. It would have put me anything inside 100, but now I have to hit a 5-iron somewhere close, and I get myself 45 meters to the front. So now I need to up and down to save par. I actually have a perfect pitch shot, which actually misses the hole left, but releases way too far. It releases probably another 12 or 13 foot, which is unbelievable. I mean, obviously 45 meters away, it can happen, but I actually probably would have ended up short if it was, 30 centimeters. The pitch shot was 30 centimeters short of the target. I would have ended up short. So at the end of the day, I gave it a chance, and then I missed the par coming back. So now I'm 2 over after 3, and I go to the tough 4th hole with the dog leg, and the pin is actually 17 on. Not too bad, but I just need to hit a 3-iron or a hybrid, and I choose the hybrid. Still sort of missing my target to the right, but I still find the fairway. And then the decision. The decision is like, I've got the 5-iron, the 6-iron, and the 7-iron club out. I'm about 150 meters to the front. It's 17 on, so now it becomes 167 meters, and it's an elevated shot. So actually, it's playing like 185. So I take the 5-iron, and I don't get this thing to launch. And unfortunately, I've left myself just short of the front, the right, the green side front, just left of the front bunker, and I've got myself a definite 9-iron chip, because the chip with the 54 degree could easily end up just hitting short and rolling back to my feet. So I've got to hit something that will actually take a 2 or 3 bounce, and then at least release somewhere around the hole where I can actually try and salvage a par. But I actually end up hitting the chip shot with the 9, and I must have actually hit it a little bit thin for the ball to take a first bounce, probably 10 yards, 15 yards further than what I needed, and that's ended up past the flag, and it's actually not even on the fringe. Now it's actually on the first collar, which is actually quite heavy, and now I've got to try and hit a 9-iron clip into the hole to save par. So it goes past the flag, and then I at least make the bogey putt, thinking to myself, good to make bogey. and the bogey was a sort of a 6 or 7 footer, but I hit the first firm putt of the day rather than a downhill, so that was good. Then I moved on to the par 5, really just need to hit a good driver with a draw shape and find the fairway, but I ended up holding out on the grip, just didn't let it release, and I've now blocked myself a little bit to the right, and I've got now a very wet, rough condition. I've got the 5-iron out and I've got the hybrid. I decided to go for the hybrid because I want to be somewhere at least inside 100 so I can give it a birdie chance, and then I could actually think about being 2 over after 5 holes. But instead I hit the shot a little bit too much above the equator, and the ball's gone straight down and it just pops out of its spot. It's literally gone only 20 meters in front of me. It's a complete, not an unmentionable, it's just that it's a little bit too steep the way I've set up with the hybrid, and I thought, well, the hybrid at least get myself behind the ball, but now I've hit it a little bit too high, and then I hit 5-iron quite badly to around 138 meters to the pin, and well, actually to the back of the green, which actually is a good number that I kept for the rest of the day, because 138 meters sort of into the prevailing wind and being wet just seemed to suit the 7-iron quite well, and I actually hit probably the best 7-iron for the whole day on that 5th hole, because I gave myself a good par chance down the hill, unfortunately, and I missed it right. So unfortunately I'm 4 over. I've gone bogey in the last 2 holes, and now I'm setting myself up. Just please try release the driver head on 6, and I managed to at least get that right, and it actually just didn't get itself into the bunker, which was the idea on that hole. But now I can just up and down for birdie. I chipped it a little bit I chipped it a little bit mechanically, not enough feel, and it just seemed to run again, just a little bit past the hole, and now I've got a downhill birdie to make. And I really could have dropped that birdie putt, and then it would have been a good time to drop a birdie putt on the 6th. Unfortunately, just missing the left edge, and then I actually hit a really good 6-iron on the 7th hole. It's a par 3, playing very long, obviously off the back markers. It's a 175 meter shot to the center. I clear the center by at least 5-6. So now I've hit a 183 meter 6-iron, which gave myself a good chance for birdie. Unfortunately, I hit the putt and just didn't get to the hole, so that's also going to happen when you don't have a very smooth surface. It's still moist, and no one's probably been on that side of the hole. So I hit that putt, and it just seemed to bobble a bit, and it did look like it was going to turn at the last minute, but I sort of left it on the left edge. So all's good, but now 8th hole. This is the nemesis hole for the day. I take a triple. How the hell do you get a triple when you hit 3-iron off the tee? Well, you hit a horrible miss to the right and put yourself behind a tree, and then you chip out sideways and give yourself a 5-iron or a 6-iron just to try and get yourself somewhere front and left, with the pin being so front. I miss to the pin high right side with a really awful chip to come. I duff the chip and then have to hit a left-handed shot to stay out of the bunker, and now I've got to make a putt to take a 6, and obviously it's one of those putts that you actually have to completely hit quite firmly so that it doesn't take too much of the break and it finishes beyond the hole, so I take a 7. I then go on to hit a 5-iron again, this time better, on the par 3 9th, pin high right, and now I've got, unfortunately, I've missed the fringe, so now I've got at least to up and down to make par. I take a 9-iron, and actually it did work out to hit the fringe, but it just released it a little bit too far, but I made the par coming back, which was like a 15-16 footer. Very happy with the way I was putting at that point, because then I felt like, okay, look, at least the putting is going to save the score today if I can just keep my rhythm. 10th was not great, because now we've gone straight to the 10th, no halfway. That's the way I like to play. And I hit a 3-iron, just a little bit sort of with no real sequence, but the ball ends up just right of fairway, missed the fairway, and now I'm hitting either a 7-iron or an 8-iron. I decided to hit the 7